scheduled for one fall. Weighing in at 220 pounds, from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, the Crippler, Chris Benoit.
For all the anti-ECW crusaders who say that ECW is only about blood and guts and self-mutilation, blah, 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 blah. This next match is for all the detractors. Chris Benoit versus Eddie Guerrero is as good a wrestling match between two pro wrestlers, not sports entertainers, and I'll get fired for that, that you will see anywhere at any time.
Can you feel the heat? I don't care if you don't like it. Fight me.
And his opponent, weighing in at 210 pounds, from El Paso, Texas, Eddie Guerrero.
Well, the fans are chanting the name of Eddie Guerrero. He doesn't seem to care too much, quite frankly.
Bradshaw alluded to the fact that Madison Square Garden is just one block away, and I know that because I was there last year at WrestleMania, the show closing with Benoit and Eddie Guerrero looking at each other, both wearing a championship belt. This is the match that Raw would love to have, SmackDown would love to have, but we've got it for you here on One Night Stand.
I can tell you firsthand that this was the match that Paul Heyman always wanted to promote in ECW, and we just never got a chance to do it. Paul Heyman knew that these two athletes were very special. He knew they were both future world heavyweight champions. He told me that several times, and boy, was it ever prophetic. Chris Benoit went on to become the WCW World Heavyweight Champion, and at WrestleMania 20, he won the WWE World Heavyweight Championship from Triple H, which is as big as it gets. Eddie Guerrero defeated Brock Lesnar for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. These are the two most successful, I believe, ECW wrestlers there have ever been, along with you, make another man who went on to hold the belt. And it is what it is. It's heresy to ECW fans, but a WWE World Championship is the belt. I'm not being pressured to say it, and these two guys held it.
It was a great moment for our sport when those two looked at each other and closed the show at WrestleMania. We've seen them wrestle on Raw. We have seen them wrestle on SmackDown. They never faced off inside an ECW ring, and that's a match the fans wanted. When they were dragged away by Eric Bischoff and the lure of better money to WCW, the fans were deprived of a chance to see this match. They get it now.
First time ever in ECW rules. Chris Benoit versus Eddie Guerrero. They know each other very well. They have wrestled one another over 200 times in the United States, in Canada, in Japan, all over Europe. Chris Benoit, 20 years, a ring veteran. Eddie Guerrero, 18 years. And here we go, arm drags. These two can get it done. How appropriate that the wrestling mat is covered with canvas, because Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit are true artists. They transcend athletes. These two, Benoit and Guerrero, are artists, and I am honored to be calling this matchup. It's my pleasure.
There's a tendency among people who become WWE stars to look down on their roots. I'm always proud of the fact that Benoit not only admits he was part of ECW, but admits that he loves it. He's part of the reason why this pay-per-view took place. RVD's idea, but if it were not for guys of Benoit's caliber agreeing, saying, I want to be part of this pay-per-view, we wouldn't be seeing it in the ring.
Eddie Guerrero now walking to the outside. Looks like a quarterback who runs out of bounds, creating his own timeout.
Benoit and Guerrero have a long history. They consider themselves to be very good friends. But as Chris said on SmackDown, hey, he's seen the way Eddie Guerrero treats his friends. It'll be real interesting to see how the fans react to Eddie.
You are watching ECW One Night Stand, a rebirth of ECW rising from the ashes 4.5 years after it died in this very building. Sunday night, June 12th, Hammerstein Ballroom, New York City, Eddie Guerrero versus Chris Benoit. It doesn't get any bigger than this.
But will it survive after the attack of the Crusaders? I keep glancing up there at that balcony. I know they didn't come here just to watch ECW action. I think these guys are going to get involved, and we're going to see the stuff hit the fan.
Knife edge chop. Chris Benoit responds in kind, but not kindly. And there's a thumb to the eye by Eddie Guerrero. Snapmare takes Benoit over. And they're just rubbing the sole of his boot in the eye, showing no respect to Chris Benoit.
We've just seen our first indications that this may not be about between friends. It may not be about mat wrestling and nice moves. There might be some anger involved. Eddie Guerrero, he's a disturbed guy. Let the pressure get to him. Let the fans get to him. He's turned on his friend. We may see it again right here.
And in what looks to be a fragile mental, emotional state by Eddie Guerrero may be shattered when he realizes that the blood is already flowing from his nose. And who knows what Guerrero is capable of when he realizes he's bleeding.
For a group of guys that's supposed to be on nothing other than blood and guts, we've seen very little of it. Our first view of the red stuff tonight, am I right?
Eddie Guerrero now gets his leg hooked. Benoit with the belly-to-back suplex. What impact, and the back of Guerrero's head bouncing off of the canvas like a basketball. See the blood now running into the eye of Eddie Guerrero. And that's horrible if you can't see out of both eyes. Chop ducked, front kick, and chop connected.
The smell, the taste, the sight of a man's own blood can have a different effect on different people. I'm not sure if Guerrero even realizes he's bleeding. We're going to see how he responds.
Eddie Guerrero now opening up with chop to the forearm of the corner. Snapmare out of the corner, rattle press to it. You see the forearm across the face of Chris Benoit. That's just insulting. That's a lack of respect is what that is. Guerrero now riding his good friend Chris Benoit. Guerrero has any friends left. That's his own choice, by the way.
He's digging the point of that wrist into the bridge of Chris's nose. Not looking for submission, just looking to add insult to injury here.
Well, maybe he does realize he's bleeding from his nose and wants a little pig, wants his receipt. Chris Benoit fighting to get back to a vertical base. Eddie Guerrero.
As Eric Bischoff doesn't seem to be hurt by the fan sentiments here.
The coach covering his ears should wipe his ass when he's at it. Benoit fights his way free of Eddie Guerrero. Full head of steam now. Shoulder block. Down goes Eddie Guerrero. Here goes Benoit once again. Charging. Guerrero jumps down Benoit to the outside. Eddie Guerrero, a ring general, always knows where he is. So clever, simply ducked down, saw Benoit charging like a bull and a matador, and just dropped out of the way.
That high-risk style indeed comes up.
Oh, damn, that's got a hard steel chair across the back.
A steel chair across the back and sap the life out of a man, sap his will. The will to continue. It won't take away from a guy like Benoit, but it stings, it hurts.
Face first down to the timekeeper's table. And that's what I'm talking about. ECW rules, first time for these two. It's perfectly legal to use the table or the chair, and now we've got both combatants, both gladiators ascending the turnbuckles in unison. Both men going all the way up top. Superplex. Superplex to the center of the ring, and what impact, jarring through the spines of both combatants.
Leniency, a key word here. Keep in mind, if a referee were to declare disqualification on an ECW show, and we're going to take a look at his suplex here.
What impact, both of them bouncing off the canvas that's reverberating. And you gotta think your spine is doing the same thing inside your skin.
Eddie going up top.
And he's feeling a little froggy. He missed! He missed! Chris Benoit saw Eddie Guerrero on that top turnbuckle and sucked him in.
Eddie may have taken too long with that look of disdain at the fans. Messed up the frog splash. This could be a turning point in the match.
Referee Mike Keener putting it down on both wrestlers.
As I was saying, this referee to declare a disqualification, any referee in an ECW match, make a response Bischoff got seemed like a hero's welcome.
Run out of town. This one's getting ugly now. Jeez, that's gonna hurt. Eddie Guerrero stems the ride. You know, a simple maneuver like a clothesline coming from Chris Benoit. Take your head off. Beautiful bridge on the Northern Light suplex, gets a 2.5.
You can feel the intensity rising. I was in the ring one time for a short time with Benoit. He's non-stop action. It's exhausting to be in the ring with him.
Well, they idolized the man you did wrestle against who broke your jaw, the Dynamite Kid, and he wrestles just like Dynamite, and that's a high compliment. And this time, the superplex from Chris Benoit. Payback is a bitch. Cover, lateral press. 2 and no. 2 count only.
Just a little bit stunned at your language, Joe.
So I get very excited. German suplex, no bridge, all impact. Benoit hangs on. Guerrero fighting to get to the ropes. Too bad. There's number 2.
This is classic Benoit.
The German suplex made famous by Carl Gotch.
You can see the desperation etched on the features of Eddie Guerrero's face. He knows if he takes a few, that the match is downhill. The German suplex is a jarring move. One may not do it, but 2, 3, one more. Jars the spine, it jars the neck, it jars the skull.
Chris Benoit going up top, looking for the suicide headbutt. He got it! And there's that self-sacrifice we talk about in ECW. Using your skull as a weapon. Cover! Guerrero finds the back door.
Chris Benoit came off major neck surgery a couple of years ago. It was said he could never do the diving headbutt again, and he's doing it.
You know, as much as I'm crazy about Eddie Guerrero these days, it's all the credit in the world for surviving 3 German suplexes and the suicide headbutt. And now, near fall attempt, nicely done by Eddie Guerrero. And here we go. Chris Benoit's looking for the crippling crossface. He is looking for that crippling crossface. He's got it. He's got it. Winching back on the head of Eddie Guerrero. He's got the right arm trapped. Nowhere for Guerrero to go. Will he tap?
It's hooked in, and as you said, there does not appear to be an escape plan for Eddie Guerrero. He's a long way from those ropes.
Your choice is to tap or have your neck broken. Eddie Guerrero either has to tap and swallow his pride or have his neck broken. He tapped. He tapped. He tapped. Eddie Guerrero tapped out.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner of the match, the Crippler, Chris Benoit.
Chris Benoit made Eddie Guerrero tap out in the middle of an ECW ring, and even the ECW, the anti-ECW Crusaders have to applaud Chris Benoit.
I think JBL is saying, hey, that's our guy. He's a SmackDown guy. They may not be happy about his presence in the ring, but that was a tremendous performance.
Yeah, well, tonight he's an ECW guy. That's what he is tonight. What a match. What athletes.